Assalamu alaikum viewers. Today the topic that I'm going to present that is Caroline age. Till now we have completed till Jacobean age. Viewers, let me tell you one thing that Renaissance age has these four little ages. There is Caroline age, Commonwealth period, New Classical and Jacobean age. These four ages are comes in the Renaissance age. The next video that we are going to present that is about the whole Renaissance ages. I am going to present the whole ages in one video. But no, I am making different ages just to know and to tell about the different eras, historical background, political background and social backgrounds of that ages. So as I have wrote it on the whiteboard, Caroline age starts from 1625 to 1649 and it's also named by the Charles First. Now who you will think that who will be Charles First and who would be Charles First? As we know that James II, Jacobean age. After Jacobean age there is Caroline age. Why? James First was the king and he had two sons, James II and Charles I. As in the history, we had the news that James II was died, so automatically then Charles I will be the next ruler of the England. So James were also Jacobean were the Latin words with the whole age words after the name of the king, Jacobean and James. So similarly, Charles' Latin verse is Carolus. Carolus is the Latin verse and that's called Charles. So this age is named after Charles and he ruled over England from the 1625 to 1649. Caroline is derived from Carolus, the Latin version of Charles. This age is also a part of the Puritan age as well, which starts from 1620 to 1660. The important events are, we can say, the important features of this age that are going, I have wrote on the whiteboard as well. There is civil war, the rise of the Puritanism, and wants of the spirit of unity. So there were a civil war, long civil war between cavaliers and roundheads. Those who supported the king were called cavaliers, and most of them were lords and their dependent. Roundheads were those who supported the parliament. There were a big war between the Charles and his parliament. Some political backgrounds were there that I'm going to present. So this civil war has been happened in the whole age. Viewers, in the whole history, for the first time, a king in British English literature history that is beheaded. What was the reason that behind it? That's very important to you, that you people know about it. Before we move on and look at the literature and history, because we know that literature is extremely influenced by political and social background condition of a country. So we should know about the political background of the Caroline age. So Charles I was the king who always were in continuous battle with the people of the England. Why? The normal people were supported and followed Protestant. As we know that in England there are two religion, Catholic and Protestant. Two religion, Protestant and Catholic. Protestant also called Puritan as well. There is a little bit difference, but yeah, they're also called Puritan people. What was the reason behind it? King Charles. King Charles decided to marry Catholic princess at this time. England was filled with Protestant people. When they know, so they were shocked. that the king's desires for a Catholic princess to marry. So they thought that if he married a Catholic princess, so the next ruler will be Catholic person, and the entire Catholic, then they will basically the rule will be in the Catholic people, and they will execute the Protestant people. So at that time England were filled of the Protestant people, so all the people were come against that King Charles. And another reason was that why he was beheaded. One is the religion, second was money. He started taxed on every person. So when the people know that the king wants taxed, and he put tax on every person, so they would become against that. If we are living here, so why we should pay for just to move from one place to another? So they will have to text the pay the text. So the next thing were money. Civil war, rising of Puritanism. Rising of the Puritanism were considered themselves very pure, and slowly and gradually in this age they were in the rise. Theatre were closed, means that literature were specific and become very limited towards poetry and prose. There I'm going to explain. I'm just going and telling the key points of this. The next I'm going to explain it. King was beheaded. A group of lyrical poets associated with the Cavaliers are called Cavaliers poet. Richard Lawless, Sir John Suckling, Robert Herrick, Thomas Carlyle were the members of this group. These poets, also called Son of Ben, as they admirers and followers of Ben Jonson, so their lyrics are travel, gay, witty, and open license. In 1642, English theatre were officially closed. On the 14th June 1643, time to note it, and the very date have been, you have to note it, that is 14th June 1643, and 1642 were the closing of the theatre. On the 1642, all the theatre have been closed, officially closed. On the 14th of the June 1643, licensing order for the printing was passed. Means that when someone is going to print something, that should be come across a license, and he or she should know need about the license. So the Cavaliers were defeated. The king was caged and publicly beheaded on the 30th January 1649. His death marked the dissolution of the monarchy for the time being. English colonies were further expanded. Oliver Cromwell emerged as a Puritan leader and came to the power in 1649. So these I just told the summarize the whole. Now I'm going to explain it one by one, and especially the literary work of this age. Civil War. The entire people was marked by civil war, which divided the people into two factions, one loyal to the king and the other opposed to him. The crisis began when James I, who had reclaimed the right of royalty from the Act of the Parliament, he gave too much importance to the divine right and began to ignore the Parliament. Viewers note that in every country, parliaments play a very important role. So, some mistakes that had done by the king as well. He gave too much importance to the divine writer, as I have told, and began to ignore the parliament. As his father did so, he was also. The Furian, who had become a powerful force in the social life of the age, began the movement of the social constitutional reforms. The Puritan influenced the English middle classes during the ruling of the James I. It was not till the time of his successor that Puritanism emerged as a great national power. The hostility and the beginning of the 1642 lasted till the banishment of the Charles I in 1649. So there was a little political stability from the 1649 to 1660, and these turbulent years saw the establishment of the Commonwealth under the leadership of the Orwell Cromwell that we are going to present in the next video. Rising of the Puritanism. The Puritan movement may be regarded as the second and renaissance or rebirth of the moral natural, we can say, and of the man following for the first time in Renaissance intellectual awakening of the Europe in the 15th and 16th century. Puritanism became a political as well as moral. It means the Puritan people thought that the morality is not there in the people now. So they started the morality and they closed the theater. They started giving the importance to the prose and the poetry. Prose were basically at that time on a high peak, and you can say that this was basically the age of the prose as well. So uh, Puritan were, we can say, a little bit or more than enough, we can say, not a little bit, they were more religious. So they considered their people lost morality. So now we are pure, and this is our duty to recall the morality in the people and to arouse the morality in the world, people in the entire England. So Puritanism has had two chief objects. The first was personal rightness, the second was civil liberty. In other words, it aims to make men honest and to make them free. Hampden, Eliot, Milton. John Milton was a very important and a great writer in this era. Hooker and Cromwell were some eminent Puritan as well. From religious point of view, Puritanism included all shades of belief. In course of time, it became a great moment in the whole English history. It included English churchmen, separatists, Calvinists, convenanters, and Catholic noblemen. So, Puritanism exercised great influence upon the tone and temper of the English life and thoughts. The spirits which it introduced was fine and noble. So, in simple, we can say that the people were become more conscious towards life, and they were a little bit, you can say, they didn't feel fair to write something openly or closely. The next thing that is wants of the spirit of unity. So despite diversity, the Elizabethan literature was marked by the spirit of the unity, which resulted from the intense patriotism and nationalism. Means Elizabeth took, as I have explained it in the Elizabeth age as well, that she brought a unity, she brought a puritanism, and We can say the patriotism and nationalism in her age. She aroused the feelings of the people towards its country, their country. So, in this era, we noticed that people needs the nationalism and the patriotism of all the classes, and their devotion and loyalty to the queen, who had a single-minded mission to seek the nation's welfare. During this period, James I and Charles II were hostile to the interests of the people. The country was divided by the struggling for political and religious liberty, and the literature was divided in spirit as well as the struggling parties. Decay of drama, as I have told that romanticism and the feelings in the literature all were closed and all was banned in the literature. Poetry should not that poetry should be in a filter form. No one can use artistic devices like alliteration, personification, or you may say um, simile, metaphor, exaggeration type of things. So all the things and purity would be in a very simple form. So in this era, all the things and all the literature become limited, and we can say that all literature had omit the feelings. The writer were trying to present something fake in the literature, means they were not presenting the feelings, the arts, the mind, their mind, creativity, etc. They were just limited towards you can say artificiality. Poetry, literary work. Now, this is the literary work, that poetry, prose, sermon, diary, and metaphysical poetry. This type of poetry were going that the writer have to present in this era. This was the age of prose as well. Means that the development of prose was occupies and excellent in the kind of the Jeremy Trailer, who was the writer, sorry, the prose writer, and he wrote a lot of uh, prose in this era. The most prominent literary divine of this period is remembered for his collection of sermons known as the Liberty of the Prosperity, Holy Living and Holy Dying. These are the works that he wrote in a prose form: Holy Living and Holy Dying. Holy Living. Sorry, I'm just writing in a points. Holy Living and Holy Dying. And another thing is the Liberty of the Prosperity. These are the fine specimens and religious prose, the Puritan, we can say. The Cavalier poetry, that were those poets who who wrote in the supporter of the King Charles I, Robert Herrick, Thomas Grieve, and Richard Lovelace. They were the poets basically, and they worked for the Charles. So sermons were writes metaphysical poetry were on the peak in this age. So these were the literary background and the historical background of the whole era. Now, thus we should know about the historical and political and philosophical background and the whole conclusion of this era. Caroline Age is characterized by the civil war, rise of feud, and lack of spirit of unity. Means there were no unity in the whole nation. Dominance of intellectual spirit and decline of drama. Means the intellectual peoples were on the side. They put the intellectual people on one side, and they started to tell them and they just closed the drama, closed the theaters, and they limited the literary work towards the thoughts that you should not arouse your feelings and not put the man feelings in the poetic language. So they basically controlled on the literary work. We studied the poetry of the age, including the Puritan poetry and Milton. As a Puritan poet, extensively metaphysical poet, cavalier, and portraying a lot of major poets and prose, Caroline Age, especially the prose writer and these contribution and its development. We should now date basically the Puritan people were saying that there is a lack of morality, but I will suggest that they basically destroyed the efforts of the Elizabethan age, the efforts and the what they have done in the history for the English literature. They also vanished the whole their entire efforts for the literary work. So this was the Caroline age. The next age that we are going to present after Caroline age, that is Commonwealth age in the next video. So keep watching, and whatever you have want to share with us regarding this video, put right in the comment, and keep watching and keep supporting our channel. Thank you so much.